Yeah. Arm. Uh, 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 um. Uh-huh. I pin it. Yeah. There we go. Oh, this looks so good already. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Sadly, we have to. We don't. Yeah, no, we have to start again. That's the sad part. But I'm chilling. This is looking really good already. Just drinking some water. Alrighty. Let us begin. Oh. Actually, just just wanted to turn the volume down a little bit. That's all. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let's do this. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go quickly through it since we already read all of this. Um Perhaps hmm I was I guess it's a little bit on me. I should have replayed the parts that we already played before, but we can get like to where we were. I feel like pretty fast, since we know what to do. This looks so good though. Damn, looking really good. Okay, cool. Let's roll. Like a cucumber. Oh, cucumber rolls? Sushi? No, that's quite a stretch. I love them. How do I run? No, this is it. There's a leaking sprinkler over there. Looks at the child. Well, it's a dumb fucking bear. Stupid ass bear. There aren't any bears called Teddy. Actually, let me take care of this. What do you mean, why? I'm telling you, I got this one. Okay. He can do it. He can get it. What? Huh. That was hers? No, that's mine, you doofus. It's the new Rebel Doll X3000. Yeah, what the jalapeno did you do? What? What do you mean, what? You're my hero. No props, kid. In your face, Happy dance. This is so much stuff. Kind of like a tuna. Okay. Let us keep going. Oh yeah, we're going right back at the game. Okay. Okay, let's go. Houses, am I right? Hmm? Always make the jump so cumbersome. A cumbersome. Yeah. Colon. Oh yeah, we have to move. We have to actually walk there. At 1, what do you want to change? There isn't like a skip button or anything. Yep, okay. I love Dr. Watt so much. Yes, just like me, for real, for real. Who I wanna be, at least. Doesn't talk to him. Hey, hello. That'll do. Zed Machine Jow. Today is Friday. Today is Friday. It is Friday. It is. We are. It's the weekend. So you guys are not a figment of my imagination? You actually exist? You're made of actual flesh and bone? Not using my illusions? Really? Dr. Rosaline. Oh my god, that's fucking hilarious. I love Dr. White's. Let us go, 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 let us go. Let us go. Okay, let us go. Let's get out of here. Hey, you should probably go get Colin's monitor. Yeah, on it. Okay. That's my bad. Here, this should help. Thank you. Da-da-da-dum. Da-da-dum-dum-dum. Dum-da-da-dum. Let's get out of here. Let's do the thing. Do, 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 do. I thought I remembered the melody. I actually do not. That's all I know. Let's just get the file and maybe we can get the... like, shorten the time. I don't know how to explain it. Like, if I press Y, I'll probably get like a dialogue that I have to go through and everything. So yeah. Was it here? Yep. Yep. Or does it still go to him? Oh no. Okay. The file isn't in the car either. Eva! Hey, Roxy, still at the office? Yup, just waiting on the elevator. I thought you'd understand with it opening instantly for you every time. What? That's a myth. I wait for elevators too. Yeah, when was the last time it didn't open instantly? See? You're either freakishly lucky or... Okay. For pumpkin's sake. Look, Neil forgot the patient's file. Could you help us out? Okie dokie pokey loki. Just give me a moment. Okie dokie pokey loki. Mission accomplished? Neil, the file wasn't in the car. You fucked up. Fuck, I forgot it at the office, didn't I? It's fine. I called Roxanne. She's gonna find it and send over a scan. Oh. Well, my office is logged, but she should check the printer in the lobby. Yep, she's on it. I'm heading back soon. Did you find it, Rox? Yep, it was just sitting on Neil's table. Cool beans, just scan it in. Wait, Neil's table? You're inside Neil's office? Like Neil's office? Oh. Yep, you asked me to get the files, right? Yeah, but Neil said he had his door locked. Oh, a girl's got her ways. Elaborate. Not like that, silly. I just had his electronic lock like like a slice of cheese. What the hell kind of sense does that make? Oh, okay. Well, just get out of there and send me a scan, would you? Yep, on it. You rock. Oh. 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 Happening. Guys got everything else you need? Yep, Neil's setting up the machine right now. How's the weather out there? Huh? Oh? Is it nice out for a drive? It's, not bad. Neato, I think I'll just come over and get you the file in person then. Why? Just scan it and send it over. Saves time for us both. Oh, we got no patients today and it's boring here anyway. Anyhow, don't worry. I'll get there before you guys are done. Yeah, both them. Okay, Roxy. Have a safe drive. What an oddball, that Rexon. Yes, silly. Well, it's enter automated configuration mode. It does that now? Yep, my handiwork with the sole purpose of setting myself free to play hooky. But instead I gotta go gather background info on the patient. A shame. Well, I'll go keep an eye on the patient. That's how you get lazy. Keep both eyes on him, please. God, I love this dude. It's no tour without a guide. Hello, sir. You will be my guide for today. Anything I could help with, Doc? Doc? Quack. Tour of apartment. Tour around the apartment while we'll wait for my excruciatingly slow colleague would be nice. Of course, I'll come with. Fucking go! Is he a healer? Is he a healer? Is he... Okay. Plain. It's a neat piece. Yeah, that's my day. It's used to be an airline pilot. I guess it reminds me of his roots. Oh, wow. Okay, let's go through this fast. Actually, no. It's Dr. Watt, so, like, beautiful dialogue. Your parents' wedding photo, huh? Yeah, that's them. Hang on. I thought I was gonna cop, and no, actually. I don't think so. I remember being embarrassed about that picture as a kid, but it's kind of shit that they kept it so well. Ah, shit. I didn't get any what's dialogue. Aren't these tropical? I wouldn't know any better. Okay, yeah. There's not like any special difference. Wish that there was a button to walk faster though. An apartment with 2 floors reminds me of a double-decker bus. And if a double-decker bus crashes into us. Most of this floor is for maintenance. We just got a little storage room cut out. Sorry about the mess. Seems like they've been doing a bit of a cleanup. Then shouldn't it be less messy? Looks like they missed one. I think I recognize that book. It's been around for quite a while. My dad kept it taped up because he didn't want to throw it away. Yup, it's taped up, alright. He doesn't want anyone reading it, eh? Under normal circumstances, I'd say to leave it alone for privacy's sake. But he did sign up to become your client, so I don't know. Let's go. For the sake of science and the client. For science! Holy crap! What? What is it? Nothing. Huh? Literally nothing. It's just a bunch of blank wrinkled papers. Seems like they were just glued back onto the spine too. That's odd. It's been around for ages though. Maybe whatever was on there faded? I suppose. But either way, I can't do much with this as it is. Let's look somewhere else. Oh, this is beta flying single engine. Open engine? No, where did I get the word open from? An airplane with with an engine like hanging in the air or something. What I imagined would be pretty funny. Just don't put any humans in it, please. Whoa. Checka boom, let's go. You. Dusty cello with quite a few scratches across the board. Father's old cello, he played that a lot back in the day. Like it hasn't been touched in a while. Yeah, I guess it's hard on the wrist. Usually just play the scales, though. It's not exactly music to be enjoyed. I will enjoy a well-played scale. He plays this too? No, this is my mother's. She used to hey, lull me to sleep playing it back in the days. We all have our lullabies. Mine's Beethoven 5th. Oh, fancy, what's fancy? Oh, Eva's gonna love this. No, shut the fuck up. Hello? Code 32, Eva, code 32. Rectify it. They're so silly. Nah, I don't wanna. Never, Neil. You know it drives me crazy when people just leave it on the counter. Put the toilet paper onto the dispenser. Magic word. Put the toilet paper onto the dispenser, please. Well, since you asked nicely. I love this shit. The falcon is in the nest. What falcon? It's a freaking toilet paper on the dispenser. Yeah, it's as snug as can be. Thank heavens. Anyway, go get things wrapped up. I'm heading back. I love them so much. They should marry and have a beautiful life to get together. Oh, actually, there's something else that might help you prepare. Oh. I hope this ship is real. There's a family photo album. Thanks, never too early to feel like a grandma. I'll go check on my father then. My colleague will be back soon, so I should go get the machine ready too. I'll flip through this for a bit first. Never too young to feel like a grandma. Never too young. It's really cute though. I like the one on the right corner. On the shit. The third picture, come on. Can't be that difficult. Oh yeah. Everything ready? You betcha. How about the file? Is Roxanne the scans? No, she said she's coming over to bring it in person. Ew, what? Why? No clue. She said she was bored, but something felt odd. She felt odd. Then again, you know Roxanne. He's always a little cucumbered up in the head. Come on, I love the cucumber jokes. Cumbersome, cumber, and the cucumbered. Yep. Well, language, Eva. Eva, I don't know. Anyway, I guess we could still start in the meantime. In the meantime, the time that is mean. Your helmet's on the recliner. Oh man. Logging into Sword Art Online or something. Ready. Get ready. Wait. Oh. Hmm. Before you begin, could you tell me what you'll be doing in there? We're going through his memories to grant him his last wish. Duh. I thought you already knew? Yes, I do know that, but how? What will you be actually doing? Well... Okay, so we did this last time, so let's try not time to explain. Look, although your father's condition is stable for now, he is on a timer. I can say for certain, but we have about a day's time to work with. Sorry, I didn't mean to hold you up. I don't know what's going to happen in there, but good luck. Luck's for lotteries, we're professionals. Oh, sharp words. See on the other side. Patient is stable and ready. Initializing memory reversal sequence in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. This game is looking so good. Looks so good, dude. Looks so good, dude. Okay, here we are. Alright, this should be Colin's last room, whatever memory. We already did this, so... What's with the helm you put on our patient? The equipment, it looked different. Oh, I just removed the casing during maintenance, that's all. And why didn't you put it back? Hey, that reminds me. Did you know I added a new feature? New feature? Behold! Never mind, forget I asked. Yeah. Character customization. The Solis. Timeless. Yeah, let's try something different. I love this shit, dude. Oh man. one red, one gone. Yeah. Course finalized. Yes. Ta-da. Just why? Well, I figure if we're gonna spend so much time working here, we might as well travel in style. We? Oops, did I say we? I'm sorry, I meant... Wait, that's exactly what I meant. Tag, you're it. You know, you son of a... I love them so much. Okay, so last time we did like a pretty thing, so let's do... let's do funny. What the fuck, Neil? Hey, don't blame me. It's the system that chose it for you. Sorry. Well, the system is a dumb shit. Well, dumb. Yeah, that's what I can come up with. I'm not sure. Whoa, don't insult the system. That's not cool. Whatever, I'm changing back. Oh, come on. It was a lot of work to implement. Besides, you owe me for what happened at the tofu party last month. What the fuck happened at the tofu party last month? Humor me for a bit? Ugh, you did take a solid hit at the double party. What the hell happened there? What the hell happened there? Fine, I'll keep the look until we find Colin. Sweet, nice socks, by the way. Yeah, I'm okay with this. Oh god, I love them. Oh, let's turn off world interaction before we wake her up. Man, after all that, I'm surprised we didn't already. Yeah, me too. Oh, cool. What? What is that? What do I do? How? Oh. Okay. I get it. Colin? Oh, no. What the? This isn't a stable copy. Let's find one we can talk to. Unstable copy. Hey, you think we could check upstairs real quick? Let's go. Oh, wow. Still full here. Seems like he must have cleared it very recently. Oh. This bookshelf has got nothing on it now but one odd book when I checked. And that one's not here. Okay. Pretty sure the hall didn't look like this. Good soul, he can't even remember his own home. But isn't the machine supposed to autocorrect this kind of spatial inconsistencies? Oh, hey, look. It's the guy. It's the fellow. Shama. Yeah, let's go. Target acquired. Let's go. Oh, I thought you forgot. Nope. Well, all right. Thanks. Turning on into the interaction. They should get married and love each other forever and ever. Colon? Angels of Death. My name is Dr. Eva Rosaline. I'm a memory traversal specialist at Sigmund Corp. My colleague here is Dr. Hatton. Dr. Manhattan. You are Dr. Neil Watts. How did you know? Your name tag. This isn't what it looks to be, is it? Yes, Colin. Your procedure has started. Good. It's not just me then. Something felt off about this place. It's as if I'm both here and far away at once. Or either this isn't where I think I am, or my head's going downhill faster than I thought. More like both, actually. Fair enough. My wife and son, how are they handling it? They're there, right? Yeah, but they aren't prancing around, that's for sure. Although, given the circumstances, I guess I'd be worried if they were. Listen, there's not a lot of time, and it's best if we get started. You are the most recent slice of colon that we can load up, and the only relatively reliable version that we can interact with for info. So, I hope you can assist us in completing the mission. Michigan. Of course, why would I not? Good. I'll keep your state safe so we won't need to have this conversation again. Save on the state. It's your highness. Now, in order to help you relive your life here to fulfill your last wish, we are first gonna backtrack through your memories to connect your timeline. And then we'll be able to transfer your desire all the way to your younger self and run the algorithm for you to live your life here all over again to fulfill your wish. Anyhow, Colin, we need your help to jump between the shit. Okay, there are items of importance to you that connect one memory with another. Do you have one here that we could jump with? Whoa, slow down. We still don't even know what his wish is. What is it that you want anyway, Colin? Actually, I think I can answer both of your questions with this. This is Sigmund contract. The text is rather blurry, but it is a memento. Sweet, let's move. That was a little bit weird, but that's fine. This memento's very shatters by itself since it's so recent, but the next one won't be so easy. We'll need to charge it up first. Prepare. Okie dokie. Memories go to the farthest when linked together. I don't remember how this works. Oh, I remember how this works. Wow. Oh, Candy Crush. I don't know. Okay, yeah. I don't know. How? What the hell do we? Blub, 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 blub. Oh, kind of like okay. We were truly finding paradise. Thanks, we might come back for your help again. Polio. Okay. Sigmund Corp, Sigmund Corp. Yeah. This is Sigmund Corp. Wait a minute. This place. It's a Sigmund guest house. Where they wine and dine the geezers into signing up for the service. It's been a while since I've visited. Looks a bit different from when it was last year too. Let's check it out. Da 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 da. Lovely music. Lovely. Lovely. Tree. Oh, person. What are you doing outside in the cold, Mr. Reeds? Your appointment is about ready. Please, right this way. Oh, wow. We got the memory orb. Hello. Okay. Hat. Oh, we got it. Okay. Are we good to go? Why don't you just sit back and enjoy some tea first? You must have come a long way to get here. I need to get back home soon. I'd just like to inquire about your service. Very well. Someone will be here to get you shortly. Tea. Only to get, yep. Land. Oh, the world map. I think it was. No. Never mind. There's so much to the world, isn't there? Much more than one could explore in a single lifetime. Say, wouldn't it be nice to visit where you've always wanted to go? I've already been there. Once upon a time. I don't recall the fireplace here looking like that. Hmm. Hmm. This photo is taken from the stage's perspective. It looks at Dr. Watts. Hello. Exhilarating, huh? Not many people get to experience what it's like to be famous. We sure get a lot of requests for that. So if it floats your boat, consider it done. If we have to do another one of these, I'm gonna go take a nap. It's not so bad. At least we'd get it done fast and go home early. Here we go. You see, our service is really quite simple. You tell us your wish, and we make it happen. Fame, wealth, unreached goals, and secret desires, you name it. Where's your genie, Colin? Where's your wish? Deal. So, if I understand this correctly, you're saying I can't wish for more wishes? I don't get what that means. No, I've done and seen a lot in my lifetime. I've been to where I once thought I'd never be, seen what I once thought I'd never see. But in the blink of an eye, suddenly, there's no more time. I find myself here just like everyone else. I walk through these doors and I realize that there's still this empty feeling inside me. I don't mean to be ungrateful to the life I've had, but I just want to feel like I've done enough in this world before I go, you know? I want to say I've lived a happy life, and I want to feel like I have few regrets. Somehow, after all that, I still can't. That's why we're here, Colin. Just give us the word and we'll make it right. Tell us your regrets. What is it that you want us to fix? Regrets. I don't know what to tell you for regrets, but I can tell you what I want. I want you to make me live that fulfilling life I wanted. But I want you to do it without changing anything I've been through. You don't want us to change anything. Changing things is what we do. We change things and we make them better. That's why you come to us, so we can make it better. We can solve your problems. Everything you wanted but couldn't have in this life, we can give you the chance to get it. But if you want to get something, you need to give up something. So I ask again, what do you want as your last wish? Oh my god. Very well. I want you to give me a fulfilling life, while changing as little as possible. And if you have to change something, please just keep the memories of a life with my family intact. So you want to waive specificity specificity from the contract? I don't know. It's something like that. I hope you know there are no guarantees of result. I'm aware. It's settled then. I'll put our best people on it. Thank you. That's all I ask. Right, not to change anything, and we have free reign over his fate. What kind of last wish is that? I don't even know where to start. I've seen worse. The important thing here is that the boss said we'll put our best people on it. We are their best people, Eva. Yeah. Actually, about that. Never mind. Okay, I'm good. Let's go get the memento. Oh, just one more thing. Please don't tell my family. I don't want them to think I'm not content with how things are. We packed that one up. Let's just go. You know, I've been rather impressed. Before, well, back in the days you kept on yelling Javanilities when shooting the barriers. But recently I haven't heard any Hadouken or Kamehameha or whatnot. It's been rather pleasant and professional. Oh. I love Dr. Watson. I love him. Okay. Oh. That's not what I wanted to do. Jim. Okay, cool. Hat. I'd better head out now. But before I forget, here, take this hat, Pops. With the headache you've been getting, you should be more careful of the wind. I've been telling him that for ages. He never listens. Alright. I'll worry if it stops this multi-directional nagging. Hey, it's been a while since your thing with Pam didn't work out. Listen, I was talking with my old colleague the other day. She's got a daughter named Jenny. You see, she's single and... Look, thanks, but I think I just really need to focus on my career right now. So, you guys gonna go back to feeding the doctor or something? We wouldn't have to resort to that if you visit us more often, you little bastard. Oh, that hat is 100% cotton. Well, alright. You're off the hook. Drive safe, dear. We'll stay here and keep being overlord of the docks. Bye, Ma. I'm proud of you. Not the dock thing, but like, you know what I mean. That's sweet. Don't stay out too long at this time of the year. That kid needs to make us a grandchild. What's wrong with Jenny anyway? Probably nothing, but you know how it is. When you were young, didn't your parents try to push people onto you too? Sure did. It was awkward and forced. Sucked all the chemistry out of it for me as well. What are you doing? I'm texting him Jenny's info to set them up. Don't do that. He's driving. Do it after he gets home. Good call. Sure to include some pictures too. The good ones with lighting coming from the side. No words. And the pics with no duck face. Yep. And here are some pics of Asher too. Ones where his eyebrows are in point. Got it. Partners in crime. They are. Beautiful atmosphere. I love this. Are you serious? One for each dog. I'm not complaining. There were a whole flock. My granddaughter turns 5 this year. Can you believe it? Believe it. She's growing big so fast. I'm thinking of making my kid modular. I'm really flash, huh? No kidding. I didn't even realize how all I was getting until it broke my other hip. Word of advice. Don't go breaking your hip. Yeah, I've been lucky on that front so far. Seriously, I shouldn't be I shouldn't even be out right now. Why are you out right now? Like just a bag of loose bones rattling in around in there, I tell you. Just clanging and clogging. Clogging and clanging. Are you even standing up? How are you alive, bruh? Brother? Just checking the mail. What's this? Their call card. I printed out another. Sigmund Corp. What made you change your mind? I still feel the same way about it. But some days I wake up and see you on the balcony looking out like that. I don't say it, but I know that there's something that still aches you. Aches you. Tell me, are you happy? Of course I am. I have you and Dasher. Why do you want to go through with their services? Just because I'm happy doesn't mean I don't have regrets. Not that it'd be related to you too, anyhow. All of them. But when you go through the procedure and live that new life, just hold onto something from here. It's not like that, Fia. I won't forget about you. I won't cry. Hey. I think I forgot to bring duck food. Huh, me too. I won't cry. Well, that explains her attitude. I'll tell you there was something up with her. You know, she could always sign off with for a life where Colin never signed up with Zipcord. Oh, brother. Oh, man. Angelin J. The it's that one Pokemon from Fire Red that was glitched, I think. It's Pikachu. Okay, we're about to get where we were before, I think. What took you so long? I thought I saw someone weird back there. Huh. Did you say that to their face and hurt their feelings? Weird as in they were watching from the woods. Never mind, it's stupid. Okay, but be honest now. Have you been reading too much Dusklight? I already said never mind. They were static anyway, so it was no one important. Hmm. Well, you'll be happy to hear that while you were staring at nothing and I've scouted this memory out. Wait, what? I was only behind you by a few seconds. Ah, nice try, Slowpoke. Oh yeah, this machine is fucked up. Messed up. Anyhow, here's what's going on here. In the kitchen, they have a fight about what we suspect from the last memory. And after that, they make up and play music together over their cue. Aww, etc, etc. Oh, and then Colin goes to sulk on the balcony. The end. Dude, spoilers. Aren't always a bad thing when we're on the job. But here, I even picked up a memory link for you to make up for it. And if you want to see everything yourself so much, then just don't use my unlocks. Okay. Oh, wow. Go to the kitchen. Oh, can we? Oh no, that was just the stairs, I think. We cannot run faster. I'll request your blips to proceed. Okay, cool, yeah. I'm just trying. Okay. Eva. I'm not going, Fia. Really beautiful stuff. Oh, okay. Damn. Sounds so beautiful. We all have regrets, be it righting a wrong or a dream long past, or perhaps that one special someone. If you've got to do it all over again, who would you be? Where would you go? At Sigmund Corp, we give you that second chance to make things right. Because with our help, it's never too late. Well, I'm glad they made better slogans since then. I don't understand. Why would you even consider... Why would you toss aside everything we have for something make-believe? I'm not tossing anything aside. I mean, don't you have regrets too? Yes, but I actually have respect for what I've been through here. What we've been through here. Tell me, what do you want to change? I mean, there's so many little things that could have just been better. Better. And if you call Sigmund, what would you ask for? I don't know what to tell you, Fia. Then the least you could have done is to make up something nice, isn't it? Remember, calling is our client. Everything else is fluff. I know. Everything else is fluff. Oh, this looks familiar. Dun, dun. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh. Oh. Oh, okay. Were you reading in the rain? Don't do that. Wait, how in the world? Yeah, little kid. Childhood. Did we just skip his whole life? I don't know how this could have happened. But since we're here already, try transferring his signal from the last memory. Roger that. Nope, not working. We might have leaped all the way, but the middle of the path is still unclear. Then, what now? Are we stuck here? Beats me. We're already here though. Might as well look around. Hmm. Logged. Ugh. The book was what catapulted us all the way here, right? How very magical and equally annoying. Hey, hmm? This book is not getting wet from the rain. Huh. I guess it glitches in more ways than one. Harma. 5. Is that a toy cog? No, Hava. It's a Radog. Okay, what is this? What the hell is that? Oh, that's a backpack. Okay. Okay, nothing here. That's a fridge. You hang in there, son. What's in the fridge as always. Keep this place in check, alright? I will. I will. I'm sorry we had to leave again, Colin. But at least we got to see you today before we go. I understand. You need to work hard to keep us afloat. I get it. That's right. It's a difficult time, but we'll get through it. And one day, things are going to be all better. We'll make sure of that. Cutest thing ever. Let me get some pillows. You should keep eating more, you little scamp. Those breads were going quick for a while. I thought you hit a growth spurt. Okay, just one sec. Okay, there we go. More comfy. Oh. Take care, son. Hi, Dad. Yeah, let me drink some water. Oh, felt the controller vibrate. Oh, yummy water. Okay, I'm so back. I am so back. Product. And now back to Rodok, the red-nosed corgi. Hey look, you're on TV, say something. That's not how I remember the show goes at all. Rodok. Oh hey. What a cute little kid. What is that though? What the hell is that? Okay. A jar of loose change. Come on, Rodok, you can jump too. Okay. Oh. No, kiddo. Is he dead? If he's dead, how could we be here, Diggage letter? Maybe it's his twin? Dude, just soon. Well, actually, I guess it's been a while. A long while. But still, not cool. Eh. Oh my god. Oh, how did we get here? Oh, it was... Yeah, it was through here. Got it. Hey. What the... Isn't this already the furthest memory back? Yeah. Huh. Wait, I just realized something. Hmm? A few memories ago, at the Sigmund signing house. Oh, here we go. And the boss said he'd put his best people on this case. This was like ages ago, Neil. But he didn't actually mean us, did he? Because Colin was originally assigned to Roxanne and freaking Rob. Yep, let it go, man. This is utter bullshit. Okay, calm down. No, I am rage. What? Ah! Kame, don't interrupt me. Hadouken! Wow. You've really moved out to getting sued by two AP simultaneously. Sorry, Eva. I just can't have you go on thinking I've gotten tame. You could say you brought that upon yourself. No, Neil. I really want to say that. Oh, whoopsie. Hang on. So it was paper plane. How do you do this? Oh, like that. Okay. Okay, let's go. Alright, let's see where this goes. And we're back to old age. Ah. Atlanta Center, Cactus 135. Present flight level 360. Cactus 135, Atlanta Center, roger. Altimeter setting 3017. Have a good flight. Altimeter 3015, thank you. Cactus 135. Well, we've got a nice tailwind going for us. Sure, now that we're in cruise. I just wanted to say it's an honor to be here as your first officer on your final flight. This may be my first time as first officer, but I won't let you down. And it's all good. Rather poetic, really, passing the baton and all. But you should know, as my co-pilot, there are only two things I ever want to hear from you. Do you think, sir? Yep. They're yes, Captain, and landing gear down. You're funny, sir. What did I just say? Yes, Captain. Of course, I'm just messing with you. Just reminded me of back when I did my first flight as first officer, that's all. And my captain then was a crazy mess. Yes, Captain. You know, I just said I was kidding, right? Yes, Captain. Okay. Hey, I'm gonna let my wife and son come in and sit for a bit if you don't mind. My last flight, after all. They're not gonna get this view again. Yes, Captain. Irene, could you bring my family in? Thank you. Flight regulations were still so chill back in the day, huh? Times change. Oh, what did you just say? One last round? Is it alright with management? Already approved. Special location and all. You heard him, huh? Go, go, go. I cannot. Okay. Oh, okay. Alrighty. Alright, so, you gonna miss the views? From the big birds? Sure. But it's not like I'm giving up the sky. Oh, don't you go renting those small planes. I don't trust you flying in them. Speaking of, I wish they gave you a bigger plane for the last flight of your career. Like one of those monster double-deckers. As for this particular one myself, I had my first flight with the airline in this. It was a different time back then. A time with lots of peanuts. I miss them so much, man. You know, Dad, all these years of flying and you never told me why you chose to be a pilot in the first place. Oh, I haven't, huh? Don't tell your mother, but it was to impress a girl. Yeah? Did it work? Sure, I guess. Oh, police. With the way your father acted, I doubt he dated anyone at all when we met. That's fired at. Enough, yeah, don't go spreading false rumors in front of her son. What, eh? I'll have you know that I was quite the stud back in the days. Captain, just a reminder that we're in the record for the black box. Oh, thanks for the reminder. Let the record show that my biceps are out of this world. No, they really aren't. Oh, but they are. When I pulled that yoke on takeoff earlier, I practically lifted the entire plane off the ground. Isn't that right, Peyton? Yes, Captain. Yeah? Well, let me tell you all a story about this one time involving a jar of pickles. Okay. We need to maintain a sterile cockpit for landing. Let's get you back to your seats. Off you go now. Shoo. Sir, we're not landing for another couple of hours. I know. He's just sitting there. Okay. So, are you coming with or are you coming with or what? Nah, I like this view. I thought you were acrophobic. Only when I'm not inside a plane. How about you go wrap up this memory and I'll join you shortly after. Are you serious? It's on a loop. Yeah, but the picture from this seat's angle is just absolutely divine. In fact, I pity you or anyone who can't see the way the horizon meets the... Don't give me that shit. Thank you for the lovely flight, sir. Cheers. Hope you have a nice day. Hello, little one. Hope you enjoyed the landing sucked. Yeah, sorry it was a little rough. One of my better landings. The one was... Interesting. Oh, a Phillips chalice, huh? Here, let me get that for you. Thank you, sir. Hey, are you good at the cello? Not really. My wife is a real musician of the family. Beautiful instrument, though. I loved playing it as a kid. Cello. Oh, we can get out of here. Let's go. I gotta let my partner know. Yeah. Never mind. Let's get out of here. Okie dokie. So, do this, do that, and that. There we go. I think I'll stream for around 30 minutes more. I'm feeling really tired today, like physically. I've been walking for like 30 minutes daily. It's not much for the average person. I am like the most sedentary person in the universe, so it's like hell for me. But I've been trying hard. Oh, dude, I was just about to. The hell? Good thing I was able to get back on track with this game though. And now it's widescreen and I don't seem to have any problem recording it, which is beautiful, beautiful. Like the remaster, like this widescreen release is so good. So happy with it. How do we skip to the childhood memories again? And this time the memento isn't even that book. There's something wrong with the machine, Neil? Huh? It's not the machine. At least, I don't think it is. Well, I guess at least we know that we can go back now. Let's just hope this doesn't interfere with finishing this job. Relax, we'll manage. Hello. There's literally anything, please, anything else left, Miss Miller? Nope. This is your instrument. Get used to it. This is life. Get used to it. Love playing cello as a kid, my arse. Liar, liar, pencil. Wow, you belong at a great school. Your childish Jap society, an unrelated note. On an unrelated note. That's crazy. This place kind of makes me feel like I'm on the set of some indie French film. What about this possibly makes you feel that way? I don't know, just a feeling. If you want something else, you should have lined up earlier. Hey, don't push. I called Lips on the violin, it's so light to carry. I'm gonna get the flute, it fits in my backpack. What's he doing? Hunting dirt, I guess. Hunting dirt. Liar, liar, pens on fire. Did you see that? Is he carrying that thing or is it carrying him? Looks like just a floating case from behind. Pull the trees. Oh, okay. Wow, this is awkward to watch. If why do we get all these losers as our clients? Maybe because you're here, moron. Oh, well, that's a nice compliment under Gauss's law for magnetism. I love this guy. Hey, yo, yo! That's bizarre. Adventure. Oh. Well, I don't get what we're looking for here. I don't remember. I love that you can like go through here. That's so good. Most RPG makers wouldn't. Just saying. I have a feeling these aren't exact replicas from the actual setting. It's as if his memories took quite a creative liberty in mixing things up. Isn't the machine built with public domain data stabilizers to prevent this? Yeah, but maybe broken? Maybe. You're the tech specialist. Yeah, I'll have a look afterward. There's no trigger here yet. Perhaps Colin got something for us? Yeah. Colin. Colin! The answer is C. What? I'll ask you again. What is the radius of this circle? Where's your head at, Colin? Go stand out in the hole. It's just like me. Also, I like how this is the trigger. Because obviously kids just would look at the clock to see if it's time to get out of here already. I get it, I get it. Alright, I think we could reach it if we just... No, I got this. Let me find a way. Alright, now watch this. Is that a freaking wand? Wait, you didn't disable the... Orville Yarvis. Teacher's desk is... Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And, you can't just leave me and see that. Dude. Reset. Okay, first of all, disable reactive interactivity before you pull that stuff. And second of all, that's not even how the spell goes. Yeah, it is. Did you see that thing fly? They sure did, you village idiot. I love that so much. Like, my head is I feel lightheaded from all the smiling. What? Nothing. I guess as I was expecting you to start saying dumb things again. Eva, you know how draining it is to unleash a Kamehameha and a Hadouken simultaneously. I mean, I know I'm a pro, but even I need my view to sleep. Okay, I forgot what the memento was. Oh yeah, the clock. Oh. Oh, cool. Damn. Oh, okay, it's not 100. How do we do this? Okay, yeah, I got it. Oh, that was not it. Okay, this took a little bit of time, but what you gonna do about it? Okay. Are we back at the old age period again? Well, and here it is, the perfect retirement apartment. Oh man, I want a retirement apartment. We sure are. Okay, I think I got it figured out. I mean, we haven't just been jumping back and forth randomly, right? There's a pattern to it. With all our other patients, we begin from the most recent point and gradually trace backwards. And in this case, it did start like that. For the first few memories in his oldest time, everything went just as normal. But then we got somehow slingshotted. All the way to the earliest accessible memory. So we cleared that and once again leap back to the older times where we left off. Then to the earlier once again, moving forward. And once more to the older time, moving backward. These jumps aren't in a random order, and nor do they form just any pattern. I love that shit. I love this shit. It's the pattern of a decaying orbit. Almost as if we are being pulled in, spiraling toward a gravitational center. A gravitational center, huh? An appropriate context for physics aside, what do you think is causing this? Some oh-so-deep event of melodramatic angst and traumatized our fine gentlemen. I don't know. Maybe it is a memory of that sort, but maybe it's something else. Something else? What could be here other than memories? Like I said, I don't know. It's just that they've seen a lot of patients, and there's never been a memory that's done this. Alright. I guess at least this one isn't routine then. We'll see. One bedroom with balcony, and there's also an attic for storage. How often do you find attics in an apartment, huh? Not to mention the lake view. I thought the lake is on the other side of the building though. Yeah, but this unit is on the edge. You can see it if you hold out a mirror from the balcony. Here, have a brochure. Brochure? You hold out a mirror from the... Oh god. And this is the kitchen. If you pay attention to the walls, you'll notice that it hasn't had even one fire accident. Of course, if it had, the whole place would have Should only print down in an apartment. No. What is it? I mean, of course, it wouldn't happen because y'all seem like careful folks, right? I guess what I'm saying is, fire safety is very, very important. This fella. Look, I'm sorry. I'm just really new at this. Oh, that's cute. That's cute. That's so cute and funny, dude. Holy shit. I love this game. Oh gosh. I don't know why I'm laughing so much. Anyway. Oh, this is really pretty. Said you're a musician, right? This room is perfect for performances. There's very little room for an audience, though. So you'll probably be playing alone, which is kind of. But I digress. Oh, dude. Also, careful with those stairs, but you all seem to have rocket hips, so no problem there. Dude. Yeah, okay. And as you can see, this is why they call this Lakeview Residence. I mean, you can't literally see, but because the lake's behind us on the other side, but if you extend your head out to the to the left, you might be able to see a bit of it. Don't though, you'd fall off. Okay, on we go. Okay. So, what do you think? Well, it is nice and quiet. I like it. Me too, but I would have liked it better if you just didn't talk, Fred. Yeah, that really didn't help at all. If you weren't my cousin's friend's brother, we would have walked out by now. Or like ran out. I'm sorry, you guys, I'm not good at sales. So, sorry to be blunt, but are you gonna take it? 'Cause there's a deposit fee, you see, which technically I could elope with, but I promise I'm talking. I'll take it. Mm-hmm. I love them. Oh gosh. Thank heavens. My wife was gonna murder me if I didn't make a sale by this month. Poor guy. Oh gosh. That was pretty funny though. An attic in an apartment, isn't it amazing? I think this floor is otherwise reserved for heating and utility units for the building. If something in the building explodes, I guess it probably hit pretty close. Okay, I'm trying to feel spooked about the memory leap thing, but this isn't helping. On the other hand, it is kind of suspicious that they carved out this single storage attic. God. There's a balcony, you said? Yep, it's got a great view, and given how high it is, you can certainly fall and... I mean, yes, balcony, it has that. What's the thingy? Oh, this the paper plane? Oh, wasn't this just a brochure a moment ago? I guess he just folded it. What's the issue? Well, if I'm guessing right... Uh-huh. Being a memento, it's kinda odd that it came to be without us seeing. Huh. In any case, at least it's convenient. I didn't see another way out of this place. Interesting. Interesting me. Okie dokie, so how do we go about this? Is the only one that we can move. Oh, okay. Playing back again, huh? Yep, your theory still checks out. Okay, let's place bets. What? Bets on what's causing this anomaly, of course. Your guesses versus mine. I'll get a life. Dips on the first guess then. Bet you $10 it's about a girl. Suddenly a romantic, aren't you? No, just the fact that with these things, it's always about some girl. Not everything is about some girl, Neil. Besides, I think we've seen enough from his own memories to say that he's happily married and... Hey... Of course. What you doing up there? Faye is such a beautiful name. Faye, Faye. Yes, you. I see you standing up there like that every day. What are you always looking at? There you are. So, got a name? You do have a name, right? Colin. What? I can't hear you. I said my name is Colin. Huh, you're Colin what? What? No, let me just... Hold on, I'll be right back. Oh, dog. Okay, that's cute. This is cute as fuck. Look at him. Oh, look at Rodok. The Rodok plush toy. Oh man, I want a Rodok plushie. Holy shit. I need one. I need it. Really? Hey, I'm gonna throw this paper plane over. I wrote stuff on it, so just catch it, okay? I was gonna say just speak louder, but... Okay. Okay, here it goes. Oh god. Scary. Hold on. Dumb kid is not no respect for the laws of physics. It's like 9, dude. Hey, it's alright. You need to concentrate, okay? Just keep your eyes on me and throw as hard as you can. You try hard enough, I'm sure you can do it. I believe in you. Okay. I can do this. Holy dramatic moment. Here it goes. I can do this. I love this game. You should have seen your determined face. That's not funny. You can't throw it against the wind, silly, no matter how hard you try. What do you think was gonna happen? I'm going inside. Okay, wait. Don't go. So, Colin, right? I thought you didn't hear. Yeah, well, I think I've actually seen you on the way to school. What does that have to do with... You go to the one just across the woods from here, right? Yeah? Oh, well, I go to the one just across the street from yours. The private school. Yep. Lucky. Why? Well, because it's all exclusive and costs money and stuff. Oh, I guess. People are all snobby there, though. They are? No, I'm just trying to make you feel better. Hey, let's walk to school together next time. Why? Because I like you, silly. You're just the right amount of dumb. Honestly, I get it. What's that supposed to mean? Besides, have you heard about the bird attacks in the woods? No, I've only seen badgers. What did you hear? Oh no, I didn't hear anything either. But that's why I'm suspicious, just it's a little too quiet. Anyway, we practically go the same route, right? It'd be good to stick together. I guess so. What was that? Hmm? She just ran back in when they came out. And it's not that uncommon for kids to be scared of the parents. Of their parents, I guess. That when I was young, I knew a kid who had one scary mother. Her spanking him with a spatula once. Afraid her brownies. Shut the fuck up, that's hilarious. Oh god. The way I coughed, dude. Oh, a clock again. Oh, another clock. Don't you dare do anything. I'm getting this one. Let me at least take it off the wall for you. No, just don't. Not even that high. We don't need to take it down. Hey, kiddo. Oh, he's so in love. What a weirdo kid. Look at him. That is so cute. A Radok plush toy sits in the bookcase. That is so fucking adorable. Okay, what the hell are these? Hey, you still playing? On the upside, I wish I had a TV all to myself when I was a kid. You and Radok. Today's classical guitar concert is sponsored by Meow Blend. Meow 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 meow. Why can't we have a jingle this catchy? Right. I should have a jingle this catchy. One can only dream. Coming up next on Classics Replay, The Godfather. Hold on, I kind of want to stay and watch this. Never watched it. I wonder if it's good. A blurry note from Colin's mom. Oh, cello. Why are you playing in the bathroom? Because the bathroom reverb makes us sound out. Okay, actually, he's cooking. You sure seem knowledgeable. Back when I played the triangle, I did it all the time. Poor kiddo. Oh, not even the fabled bathroom reverb could say that crap. Oh my god. Okay, let's get out of here before he's ready to attack our ears again. Oh my god. What is it with bathrooms and reverbs? Is it because they're small rooms usually? Memento. Holy shit. I thought I saw a reflection of someone behind me. Fucking scary. Some blanks help to remember, some help to forget. I'm not sure what that means. Oh. Okay. Understood then. Okay. This is really cool. Okay, I kind of like this. Uh-huh. I got lost. Just make a... Yeah, okay. Okay, and I think this is where I'll leave it for now. I'll just try to chill and rest for what remains of my day. And just chill. Oh. Two cellos. Hated. Loved. It's funny as hell. Right. No grandkids. Huh. Interesting. Okay, let me save here. Been so good so far. Alrighty, but for now, I appreciate you all for watching. I'll be uploading the VOD for the time I finish Celeste tonight. So I'll do that and then I'll go to sleepy. Yeah, thank you all. Thank you. Have a